Merhaba, welcome. Again, Pastor Community Networks, executive networks for technology people worldwide make regular meetings, and the people that in their areas is special and a specialist, and today doctorate degree, all of them doctorate degree in Arabic, kulli doctorate degree here with us as speakers. Dr. Safa, welcome. Dr. Shaher, welcome. And on the way, Dr. Shebnem will from Turkey, welcome as well. We are, as technology business, evolving and revolutionary, changing to the world, as everyone feels this more and more nowadays because of the pandemic as well, forcing the people more digital than before. Of course, the new generations come native digital. So everything changing, and customer changing, enterprising changing, corporate services changing, need digital standards coming, and managers seek, so CIO, CTO should, CEO should care the new customers and new generation customers as well. Not only new generations, this digital standards in everywhere, for expecting that every company meets digital standards, and of course digital gaps come on board because of many availabilities now on the board, and around the data, and around the GIS, or around to any other new services, some smart services requirements that, for example, Kareem, Uber is on launched, and hyperbolically get usage of the from the market, and because of the needs of I say gaps, digital gaps. I say this digital gaps. So startups, for digital startups, of course, for sure, there are new gaps that meet, and wait, digital startups meet these gaps. So we will today, Dr. Safa Hanım, we would like to start from you, and short introduction, and a little brief about your speech, and then we would like to deeply insight about your consideration for your local market, and your around the market, and technologically in your country, and digitally in your country services. Is there a missing point, or if you are see new development, and of course hackathon you would like to mention, we would like to hear your hackathon as well. Please, Safa Hanım, the voice with you. Shukran.
Thank you, first of all, Mustafa Bey, for this opportunity, and for always organizing very important events for us to speak about what we are doing and share knowledge between the people in the domain. And the subject you chose this time is very important. I will speak about Palestine and what we are doing for startups, and what we are doing in this domain to help young people do their startups, and also if they have innovations, they can go build first of all the idea, then go to the incubation, and then start their startup. I am part of the Higher Council of Innovation and Excellence, and I am the head of the Stimulation and Exploration Committee, and I'm also the vice president of a university, Al-Quds University. I am also on the board of the Education for Employment, which is an institute that helps people not only to get jobs, but also to do their to take entrepreneurship training, to know about how to start your own work, and also how to work with others in their companies. So if I want to speak about the Higher Council for Innovation and Excellence, it was created by a decree from the President Mahmoud Abbas, because he says always that creativity and excellence is not new for us. We have been there as Palestinians in most of the countries before we had been in Palestine. Also, we were participating in building other countries. So we have many people who have got prizes all over the world. I had prepared a presentation, but usually we like to discuss, so I am not show pictures here. And but we have many people. For example, the first lady who was the best teacher for all the world was a lady from Palestine. Her name is Hanan Hroub. She got the prize of the best teacher worldwide. We have also many other cases like her, but we as Palestinians face many challenges. First of all, our political change, political impediments resulting from the occupation, the Israeli occupation, and its development crippling policies. They do not allow us to have access to technology and access to many things besides the movement and the barriers to global market entrance, the low life living, for example, and GDP is very low in Palestine with respect to neighboring countries. Also, we have some problems in the startup legislations that we are working on, and they are still not developed. And we have limitation for access to international investors, because international investors, it's very hard for them to come to Palestine. So here I will be speaking about the challenges and the opportunities as well for this startup and for the technology. And I will be speaking also about what the Higher Council for Innovation and Excellence is planning to do. I will stop here and come back, continue, or you want me to continue now?
How you want, Safa Hanım, if you can continue, okay, of course.
Okay, so for the challenges, as you all know, as I said, there is the occupation, which is the biggest challenge. Also in the education, there are gaps between everywhere. There is a brain drain also. People are leaving Palestine because of not many opportunities. We have the highest unemployment rate in Palestine, and we have scarcity of raw material, and there are also overlapping and contradictions between the donors who are helping people. So that's why the Higher Council of Innovation and Excellence is working as an umbrella to bring all the people, all the stakeholders to work under the Higher Council for Innovation and Excellence and try to reduce this overlapping. Because as you know, the Palestinian population is very young. We have very educated people, many are educated, the highest percentage of education, and we have several organizations supporting entrepreneurship in Palestine, but they need this coordination. So the Higher Council of Innovation and Excellence was created, as I said, by an initiative from the President Mahmoud Abbas, and then it's like a cross-sectorial presidential body that oversees the whole innovation entrepreneurship system. As I said, that the Palestinian society is rich in innovation and distinguished in performance of all aspects of the life. The Higher Council consists of the many people from the Presidency office, from the Prime Minister office, from the universities, from the private sector, from the NGOs, and from the associations working in innovation and entrepreneurship. And we have 6 committees, one for policy and planning, stimulation and exploration, and I'm the head of this committee, the Central Evaluation Committee, the Experimental Incubation Committee, the Investment and Fund Committee, and International Relations Committee. And they all play a role in consolidating a culture of innovation and excellence among Palestinian community. They help to empower the ecosystem innovators and creative people and entrepreneurs. They try to help strengthen the structure of creativity in systems, and they try to support the Palestinian economy and the knowledge society. And that's why we created the Innovation and Excellence Support Fund. This fund was created in November 2016, also by an initiative from His Excellency Mr. Mahmoud Abbas, the President, which focus on supporting and motivating entrepreneurs and encouraging the private sector to invest in the startups in cooperation with the Innovation and Excellence Fund, the ISF, and we have around 300 projects that were evaluated. We have around 150 prototypes, 97 of them had got seed funding, 30 of these startups were created, and 10 of them, we have invested in 10 of them in the Higher Council and Innovation and Excellence, and they are in wide range of specialization, in agriculture or in technology for example, elevators, technology for alternative energy. We have for movement, for purchase, for different kind of startups that work in different kinds that were invested, the Higher Council invested in them. The Higher Council is not only having the fund to invest in startups, but we do every year a forum, an national forum, that each forum has a special objective. For example, the first forum was for innovators, where we aimed at recognizing the active organization, innovation, and entrepreneurship ecosystem, and celebrated and awarded the best Palestinian successful stories and efforts. And we provided a platform for stakeholders to meet and exchange. 20 startups were supported out of this first forum, and we followed up with them. Then the second national forum was for scientists, and I was the chairwoman for this forum, where we looked for Palestinian scientists all over the world. So we gathered 30 scientists from Palestine and abroad. 10 of them were from Palestinians living in the diaspora. 10 of them were Palestinians living in the what we call Palestine 48. The Palestinians who are under the Israeli occupation and have the Israeli passport, but they are also Palestinians, and 10 from the Palestinians inside the Palestinian institutes. They all spoke about their achievements and what patents they have and so on. And we did networking between them and between the innovators. And one of the important results of this was a joint center of excellence for strategic agriculture, land, food, and bioproduction, which was created in March 2019, and we are still working on it in cooperation with 2 universities. So the third forum was for the ecosystem itself, for the innovation entrepreneurship in Palestine, studying the ecosystem in Palestine. There were panels and exhibitions. There were people from Europe participating, also having a whole day for innovation. And we started writing the startup legislation that are needed for this ecosystem. The fourth forum concentrated on the Industrial Revolution, where we tried to find out if Palestine is ready for the fourth industrial revolution, and what is the effect of the industrial revolution on the Palestinian economics. And we spoke about the new technologies. That was in 2019. There was blockchain, there was digitalization, AI and VR, and now it is all over Palestine. But before, in 2019, it was very new. So we spoke to people about it, how they can create their own work companies in these new domains. Then the fifth national forum was speaking about the pandemic. Of course, we were all suffering from a pandemic. So we did the fifth forum with the title Innovation and the Pandemic, where we spoke about Palestine during the pandemic and the future. What will be post-pandemic? What should Palestinians do? So 26 startups, also projects, were ready to invest were exhibited where they are ready to invest, and we brought investors to see these startups. There were 8 fields. There were robotics, smart applications, games, agriculture, energy, medicine, and health. We had 25 speakers from Palestine and from abroad, and the result was the procedures and recommendations for the Palestinian Authority and the ministries, what they should do in order to help these startups and help this technology to be all over Palestine. Now, the sixth forum that we are working on is called a transition to innovation. And here I invite you all to participate in this forum. It will be in November 2021. It will focus on 3 pillars. It will focus on the national innovation system in Palestine components, empowerment, and sustainability. It will focus on transfer and localization of technology. And it will focus about the transition towards a knowledge economy. We would like to arrive to the national horizon towards 2030 and we call it the Horizon 2030 Future Palestine. We are working on a document with the help of our stakeholders in order to have one of the planned national milestones, this roadmap document about the future of Palestine towards 2030, what should be done in Palestine. And the slogan of this forum will be Innovate Now, Change Tomorrow. So that's what we are trying to help the people here to develop the foundations of enabling national structure of transition to innovation. We will try to help activating the efficiency enhancers of performance for innovation systems and its unit, legislative, legal, research, entrepreneurship, economic, investment, productivity, knowledge management, and funding, because all these factors will help the innovators and the entrepreneurs. We will try keeping pace with the rapid global development of knowledge production and management, its transformation into competing technologies, and the role of science and technology innovation in achieving development through the transfer and deployment of supportive technologies, strengthening the concept of developing competitive and sustainable knowledge economy in achieving resilience and development, and the role of incubating and developing environment. And as I said, the last objective will be the develop horizons of development that is based on innovation towards 2030 vision, and the role of the components of the national system of science and technology and innovation. And this forum, as I said, we invite you all, if you would like to participate in it, in any part. I'm ready also to explain more about it if needed. Because the Higher Council also looks for the international cooperation always. We have already some international cooperation, for example, with Turkey, with TÜBİTAK. TÜBİTAK is one of the biggest research institutes in Turkey. They have more than 5,000 researchers there. We signed an agreement with them, and we had cooperation, and we signed cooperation in 2 projects that were selected by Palestinian committee and the Turkish committee, and they are now under implementation of these projects. We have cooperation with the ITU, we have cooperation with the International Association of Science Parks, we have cooperation with Jülich in Germany, we are participating in the Global Entrepreneurship Week as partners, we are partners with the Arab Innovation Network, we have partners, and we are trying to do a partnership with all over the world where there are organizations that can help Palestinians and work with them. So as I said, we are planning this forum, and we are looking forward for your participation in it. And we are also working on a hackathon that will be concentrating on the digital transformation of the public sector services and introducing the digitalization of these services. And in the digitalization, there is the financial digitalization, which we call fintech. So the hackathon will be 2 parts. The first part will be the regulatory hackathon, and then we will have a technical hackathon, which is based on digital ecosystems in fintech. It will be one of the regulatory hackathon will be 1 day for informational sessions, and then 2 days for the hackathon, the technical hackathon. And it will be, and the hackathon is expected to tackle the challenges and suggest solutions and the way forward for the following challenges: e-payment, e-signature, smart ID, and e-ID. So we will be speaking about the regulatory. So expected outcome will be mapping the challenges, the risks, the mitigating the measures and opportunities, creating work groups and task forces to operate on regulations and framework. And the technical hackathon is expected outcomes will be to propose solutions, prototypes that would support and the implementation of e-payment, e-signature, and smart e-ID, access through creative measures addressing all the challenges and concerns, whether regulatory or technical, that have emerged from the introductory session, where all related information and expectations are provided by the stakeholders. And here we are we have the stakeholders with us, the GIZ, the German Institute for that helps Palestine and are the donors for technical workshop. And we have the Ministry of Local Governance, the Ministry of National Economy, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Information. We have the civil record. We have all the digital ecosystem, fintech working with us. For the technical, it will be the youth. It will be targeting the youth and the digital ecosystem in order to get the results that I mentioned before. So I hope that I was clear about the two major events that we are trying to do. And we would like to have your participation in whatever you see suitable. And thank you again for this opportunity, Mustafa Bey and all the colleagues here. I hope that we will hear from you also suggestions or feedback to help us achieve what we want. Thank you again.
Most welcome, Safa Hanım. Of course, we are always considering and thinking Palestine, whatever we can do, please, we will try to do best for this. And I will also ask detail about for second session about hackathon. Maybe sometime people misunderstand all this hackathon, only Palestinian people or startups can join, or out of the Palestine can join as a startup in hackathon, or idea as MVP, their MVP, they can join or apply or not. I will ask also about for second session. Shukran and thank you. Let's continue. Another lady leader of the region is Şebnem Özdemir. She is president of MIS department of One Turkish University, and today as digital innovation of sixth wave is coming under the shadow of the AI. So we would like to hear about this AI is data or machine learning going how affecting us, and what should be ready for us, and what we do to be ready this to not pressure under this wave, and to use this wave.
Thank you so much for such opportunity. Firstly, we have to change the perspective of AI, because generally we think that AI is an engineering problem. Actually, it's not, because the idea of engineering problem, I mean the looking AI as an engineering problem, belongs to the 1950s. Now, today's world, we have a bigger issues related to unexplainable AI solutions. Like what? One week ago, most example from the United States, sorry, but because we need a better example, we need better discrimination example from all around the world. Because when we are talking about injustice, unfair algorithm, just only focusing on the black and white problem. Actually, it's not. It's bigger than this. When it comes to the AI thing, we have to think about the profiling issues. When you profile somebody or some society or some corporate, what kind of variable we should focus on? Because when you look at the company or a society without unknowing their culture, you can't well define the real variable. Like what? 10 years ago, the statisticians from the United States tried to understand the numbers, the people number in India. But when it comes to the culture of India, they revealed a new report why it's so important being having such numbers. So let me summarize everything. Firstly, let's change the perspective on AI. It's not a technical problem. It's not an engineering problem. It's a little bit society problem, a cultural problem, because AI has a great potential to shift, to transform everything. Like what? One of the reports from this year told us the AI market will be reaching over the 190 billion market value in 2025. So we have a bigger potential. But what if we just focusing only the market potential? What if we just only having much more profit in AI or AI application? One of the society, I am also vice president of Artificial Intelligence Policy Society. We conduct a research around Turkey. According to that research, unfortunately, most of our society, over the 90%, doesn't exactly know the definition or the concept of the AI. Most of the people in Turkey think that AI equals to the robots, or AI equals to some computer power, some computer devices or smartphones. But AI is a bigger thing. AI is a philosophy. When we also deeply analyze the result of that report, we show that most of the societies know the AI because of the Hollywood effect, because the movies present a different idea related to AI. When it comes to the academia, we have, by the way, artificial intelligence departments, such universities in Turkey, but it's not okay. Why? Because if we just focus artificial intelligence as an engineering problem, when an application disrupts equality in this society, how we may solve such problem? Can we apply to a unit from the government or law unit from the Turkey? Actually, if an AI application eliminates you or bans you to entering in a sport game because your faces is so similar to somebody, how are we gonna solve it? Or when AI think that woman can't be a leader in a technical position, how we may adjust that problem. So every department in the universities should focus on the AI. And the other problem is related to AI, to use the words of artificial intelligence as a hype. We have artificial narrow intelligence, so we need data. If we don't have data related to anything, we don't have AI. If we have a strong mathematical modeling, if we have strong artificial intelligence model to solve anything, but if we don't have any data, sorry, but we don't have actually. So as a company, as a university, as a startup, we have to check the first 5 golden rules. Firstly, what is the problem? What we want to solve? Please define your scope, because AI can't solve everything. It's not a magical thing, actually. It's a simple learning mathematical modeling, that's all. So after defining the scope, let's try to understand what kind of variable we need to solve, or we need to well define that scope. If we have the variable, let's check the third thing. Do we have an expert related to those variables? Because at the end, we will have the result, and we need the perspective of those experts. And the first, do we have the data? Because if you have the expert, if you have the variable, and if you don't have the data, sorry, but you don't have nothing. You have nothing. And the fifth one is, do you have a strong team related to data science? Because if there is an inequality problem related to your AI application, issues come from, firstly, maybe from the society, because the injustice, the perspective of the injustice sometimes comes from the society, the heart of society. And secondly, did we collect the data rightly? Because if we can't specify, if we can't well define the universe, and if we can choose the right sampling from that universe, sorry, but we failed again. And what if we have a failure in our mathematical modeling part? What if we have a problem if we have a training problem? Because even choosing a simple training method like what, like holdout, like Lucy, or like cross-validation methodology, we may fail each of them. Even we may fail when we try to eliminate the noise in our data set, or when we try to complete all missing data in our data set. Those are key points. So according to my organization, IPA, our Artificial Intelligence Policy Society, or Estonia University Management Information System, we try to give a bigger perspective. We try to show the bigger window to our students, to our member, because if you're just focusing on the mathematical side, when you ignore the society, how we may build such bridge between AI and society. Some applications may be so useful, but what if a society doesn't want to accept that? When we look back to history, every time a technological shift comes to the society, it depends on our acceptance. In order to have a strong connection between the society and artificial intelligence, we need to reorganize our artificial intelligence development path. Why? Because we need explainable AI applications. We can explain, but as a developer, we can explain. What if the end user can't explain? This is the first thing I would like to share with you. Thank you, Mustafa. Thank you, Sher. Thank you, Dr. Safa.
Most welcome, Şebnem Hanım. We were thinking that there is one AI and the worldwide, and they will eat us. Yeah. So you are a little summarizes as specifically as AI is not one thing. Every companies or corporate and groups and society develop AI according to the specific problem, according to the data, and according to the regulations and policies as well. But in streets, if you ask the streets, there is a big AI, one big world AI coming. So okay, şükran Şebnem Hanım. So Dr. Şaher Bey, we would like to go with you. You have several digital startup co-founder. We would like to hear these startups, and from MVP to now you are in operation. And of course, digital startups is demanding, but still it's not easy to persuade to the corporates, persuade to your partners, even resellers or even customers expectations of some mobile or some cybersecurity issues as well you must consider. Please, we would like to hear about your journeys, about your startups.
Thank you, Mustafa Bey. I would like first to thank Dr. Safa and Dr. Shibim on their contribution. MashaAllah, the ladies are overwhelming with the information and the projects they are doing. And Dr. Safa also, I would like to mention that I am a Palestinian also. And one of the questions that maybe we discuss later is how you working with the PCMA, with the Capital Market Authority in Palestine, because we just finished a project with them on developing the Islamic finance sector in Palestine. And one of the initiatives, a new initiative, was Ibtakir, which is the platform to for new fintechs to be regulated. So it's like a regulatory sandbox from the PCMA. And I think it's very important to provide all these parts of the equation together to get more things into the ecosystem of digitalization and fintech and innovation in Palestine. And this is something I think we should have a separate discussion on it, inshallah. And we are very interested definitely to be part of the Sixth Forum and the Hackathon also, the coming forward and participate with our own companies in Palestine. This is obviously it's an important step for us, and it's an obligation on us to be part of the ecosystem in Palestine, inshallah. Mustafa, we have been working on our solution. If you can see on the back of my screen, our company called iFin, and this is our first fintech solution. And it's a more of a personal story rather than a journey that I would like to talk about. And this is maybe for you is about what's happened on the other end, is actually from the, if you're the entrepreneur perspective, it's the challenges we're facing on a daily basis of how you can actually create an idea, how you formulate the idea, how develop the idea, and then the challenges you face through that journey of convincing people about it, and then convincing the investors. And it's an endless struggle on a daily basis with everything against you. And I would like maybe to start from the initial days of the idea. I was born and grown up in Damascus in Syria, and I finished my education. I had a BA in economics and accountancy from Syria, and then I moved to the UK. I did a postgraduate diploma and then a master in Islamic banking. After that, I actually managed to join the first Islamic bank in the UK. It was set up in 2004 as a product manager. And in 2007, I got married and I had my first house in the UK. And as I actually went to buy the furniture there, and I'm leaving, it's one of the biggest furniture shop in the UK. The guy asked me, would you like to have finance? And I said, oh, well, I'm a Muslim. I don't, pay interest. He said, don't worry. We have 5 years, 0 interest. I say, okay, this is interesting. And he said to me, okay, what's your name? He opened his laptop. He said, what's your name? What's your address? And he clicked a button. He said, congratulations, you have been approved. And that's in 2007 in the UK. And I said, wow. And I was working for a bank, and it was an Islamic bank. And I immediately understood, because I was on the product development side. So I understood, oh my God, this is crazy. How can within less than 10 seconds, this guy tell me you are approved for a finance? Right, and it wasn't a small amount. It's like at that time 7,000-8,000 pounds. So it's something. It's not you're giving a 1,000 or 2,000. It's not a micro lending. It's a good amount. Not very big, but it's a sizable amount for a furniture shop. And I said, okay, I want to do that. So I hooked with the idea, and I wanted to do it for Islamic banks. And then we put in the bank, we did our feasibility study, we tried to convince everybody in the management into the bank to do it. But then we found out at the end that actually to develop the system, at that time, it would have cost us about £500,000. That's the IT work, the software, developing the idea into, moving from an idea to a software. And at that time, it was like, 10% of what the bank have in cash. So basically, we couldn't do it in terms of actual physically to pay for the development of the system. And then I moved on from the bank. I set up my own consultancy company. I started working on Islamic banking and worked with different banks, but the idea stood with me. And I tried actually to do it myself. So I got a couple of guys to set up, to design the system and start working on it slowly. And we tried to sell it to different banks. But every time we go to sell it to a bank at that time, it was, no bank will actually allow a small company to come and touch their systems, right? So at that time, there was unheard of for a small and new company to actually to offer any bank any system. If it has to be on the size of Oracle, right, to allow you to touch anything and talk to them about any software. So I couldn't do anything. And then later on, I think in 2013. I met with Mr. Muhammad Khatib, which is the CEO and chairman of Path Solutions, and maybe many of you knows him. And I met him in Dubai, and I told him, look, this is what I'm planning to do. This platform, this idea doesn't exist in the Islamic world at all. It doesn't exist in the Islamic banking at all, and we want to develop it because it's going to change everything you know about Islamic banking. It's going to change everything we do. And at that time, there was no fintech. Nobody actually talking about the fintech, or we didn't know it's a fintech at that time, right? So we wanted to digitalize everything, and then we started working on it. There is a lot of struggling, changing, and because doing it Islamically, it's something completely different from doing it conventionally, and looking into account of what is the challenges in our area, which is, you don't have a credit bureau at that time, you don't have credit information, you don't have anything. So we had to actually design a solution with no infrastructure at all at that time. So there was a lot of struggle. And then you have to face the central banks and the approval from the central bank. I do remember in one of the countries, we started actually with the central bank, there was 2 people coming to the meeting. That's the first meeting. After 7 meetings, the last meeting, there was 18 people from the central bank sitting with us, discussing the idea until actually we managed to explain to them what we're trying to do, right? So at that time, it was so difficult even to the regulators to understand how you as a solution provider can actually digitize everything. And you can provide for a customer a finance that's sitting in a different place, not in the bank branch. Some of the countries, they still till now do not allow a consumer to obtain finance digitally. It's by the law. You have to come to the branch physically and be in front of the person who actually allowing you to open the account. So the regulation challenges, the infrastructure challenges, the design challenges, and then you come to the first bank. We get from 2014 till 2017, 3 years until I signed the first bank. And imagine I'm telling someone that I can change 90% of what you're doing, and I can digitalize 99% of the work you have, and it's very difficult to convince them. First of all, they don't understand it. Secondly, if they understand it, they don't believe that you are capable of doing it. And then when they do understand and they see what you're doing, they are all afraid because you are replacing everybody in the bank, right? So everybody is going to stop you from coming because you are just basically, when we talk about automation and AI, the biggest challenge actually, that's the people who have to take the decision. They will be afraid that's actually by taking this decision, we actually changing a big number of our staff, and they are actually replacing themselves, which is completely wrong, because yes, we are digitalizing, but the job description of the people going to change. It just doesn't mean that you're going to go home. It doesn't mean that you're going to sit home and doing nothing. No, it just, the way you're going to do things is going to be different. The way you're going to control things is going to be different. And this is a big risk, a big way of also challenges that you face. So you have to convince the regulators. You have to overcome the challenges you have on the infrastructure in the country, and then you have to convince the bank. And even if after you convince the bank, then you have these challenges to convince the individual within each bank who actually have key positions to support the project. because they can easily stop the project, and we can easily kill the project because they don't want it, or they are afraid of it, and they are afraid of it because they don't know it correctly. And I can just give you an example. Just recently happened. That's one of the banks we were talking to. They contacted us and say, we heard about you. You just launched in Oman, and come on, we want to talk to you. And we went, and they were very excited. Top management talking to us, and I say, look, we're gonna give you a decision within 20 days. Let's have put you in touch with the team. And then on the second meeting, of course, I didn't say anything. In the second meeting, I just told them, by the way, guys, 3 years ago, we met your team. We discussed everything with them, and they were excited exactly the same way you're excited there, but then we couldn't actually move forward because one of the departments actually said, oh, we like it very much, but then we don't actually have time to do this project. Exactly happened. This guy said, wow, it's unbelievable. That's tell us actually how much forward vision you had 3 years ago to come with this project and tell us, and we really need this now. What happened after 3 weeks, 4 weeks of the discussion? The same department, the same guys coming back and say, 3 years on, they still don't have time to digitalize 90% of the operation of the bank for a very small amount of money of investment. If you're gonna work 3 years on a project or multiple projects, and you're still where you are after 3 years, how you don't have enough time to take a project on that's gonna release you from 90% of the work that you have? So prioritization and thinking about what is the added value that you're bringing into the project is crazy. And people perception, people mentality is the biggest struggle. It's not actually the technology itself. You could build the technology, you could have everything, and you can convince now investment. It's much easier if you look even on the last 3-4 years compared to when we started. Nobody wanted to invest in anything like that. They say, oh, it's a greenfield business. You haven't done it before. There is no proof of that. All that. But what happened in the last 3-4 years is everything has changed. Everybody wants to invest in fintechs. Everybody wants to give the money. But they still very difficult to convince the actual people who actually going to implement the project, the individuals. Look at, for example, and I'm talking from our experience in the Islamic banking. If you look at Islamic banks, none of them will tell you that we don't have a digitalization transformation policy or a strategy or wherever they work. But if you look at what they're doing things they should have done like a century ago, right? And they call it digitalization. So it's like, any Muslim or any Arab world, structure, again and again and again, we get to the same problem. So you have somebody, and I have this example maybe from my background experience in Syria, and maybe Dr. Safaya maybe will shed light, and she knows more about the bureaucracy in our countries and how things actually get changed. So you want to do something, you should go for the latest technology and implement it. You don't go for the technology that everybody is dumping and use it. It just doesn't make sense to go and you try to do something which is done 10, 20 years ago. You should try something completely new. And this is one of the biggest problem we are facing. Sorry, I'm talking more about passion about, because this is what is the reality. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort for the person to do it, and then you have to struggle on every single part of the equation. But alhamdulillah, now we are there. We are actually trying to close now our first round of investment. So it's a great news. Hopefully, we still have a lot of work to do. While our project is the first of its kind, there is no other competitor for us, and we actually create a great value. We still have a lot of challenges. So imagine for the other guys who's actually coming a new idea that's actually it's known and people know about it. I don't know, but it feels that sometimes when you want to make a change, it's much harder on the ground than what it looks like in a normal situation. But this is not the only fintech we're working on. I'm actually working on 4 different projects, and I believe this is my main one. I'm involved partially with the other ones, but I think it's the time, and I believe that the chance we have now to close the gap between us and the Western world have never been so easy to do that. And if we can't do it now, then we will never be able to catch up with the world. And we have a great opportunity now, not only to compete, actually to excel. We can actually put ourselves ahead of the Western world very easily if we can get ourselves to act properly and to move forward. And that's why I'm trying to maybe put 5 or 6 different companies into this world and try to push them as much as possible to get to forward and try to excel in a time and in a period that has not been a period like this in the history. There was no time in the history that you can get the information and you can get the funding and you can get the manpower to do and to participate in a industrial revolution like we do now. So you can see Dr. Sebem from Turkey talking about AI. You can see Dr. Safa talking about the technology and the infrastructure. We can talk about this. It is here. It is in our hands. We just need to coordinate and actually do it together, and we will be able to excel, inshallah. Sorry for taking this too much personally on my own, but I hope we can definitely talk to everybody, work with everybody to bring these projects, inshallah, forward and to help our communities and our countries to excel, inshallah.
Thank you, Shahar Bey. As digital mind people, we are always a little front of to the corporates and governments. So when we put the idea on the table, it's of course thinking, and then suddenly after 3 years, please welcome, we need you. But I have another scenario for you. If you come to our retail shop, we know you from your face, and we know you have new house, and directly we will send to the all carpenters to you, and we will say, we know also you need Islamic credit and everything, establish it and sending, don't worry, enjoy your life. We will do more with AI also. Okay. Now, as always, we are carrying the time as 1 hour or more a little. We are approaching to the last minutes of our meeting, as we did all our speeches already, that targeting that our main topics, as far as I understand our speakers did. But lastly, as timing, مثلا, I would like to ask Dr. Safa Hanım, we would like to deliver your hackathon and then later of this forum as well. And hackathon will be, I think, next following weeks in site, and maybe first or second week of August. So we would like to hear for this hackathon will be, of course, in digital, I think, and how anyone would like to participate is welcome, or only Palestinian people can apply or not. We would like some details to encourage the startups as well. For your details, we would like to hear.
Yes, thank you again, Mustafa Bey, for that. And thank you, Dr. Selim and Mr. Shaher, for your very good ideas that you gave us. And what spoke about AI, I lately took a degree from IBM about artificial intelligence and machine learning. And I got to know that it's not at all what we thought about it. As you said, a big robot or something. And I did like in Python and data science. It was really very interesting. I got, even if I'm old, I'm still learning. I like to learn new things. And it was really very interesting. And for the Islamic FinTech, I'm really so much interested in that because I'm a board member of the Islamic Bank in Palestine, and I'm head of the governance committee. So we need your input, Mr. Shaher, for the strategy. That would be very important. Maybe you have already relations, since you are friend of Mr. Muhammad Khatib, who's doing the technology for the banks, but also we need to change many things because the pandemic itself urged us to go more digital. And I hope there are lots of opportunities for that. I know the resistance of the people. I was the Minister of Technology, and I tried to digitize the government services. And the most, what we call the people who mostly were against the change were the Ministry of Interior, who didn't want to give us any information about the people or whatever in order to digitize the services. But we succeeded at last to have some of the services digitized, and now we are working on the municipality services. And that's why the hackathon, going back to the hackathon is concentrating on the fintech and the regulatory issues that will be related to the services provided by the municipalities to the people, to the citizens. And the participants from outside Palestine are welcomed in the regulatory session where they can talk to us about their experiences. Like Mr. Shaher or Dr. Salim, if she wants, they can tell us what they did in their country in this subject that will help us advance. For example, Mr. Shaher said, instead of doing a process of 10 steps, he summarized this process to do 2 steps and get your loan at the end, or your funding. And I attended the small video about your company. That's why I understand what you are speaking about. It's really very interesting to get to know these ideas that will help advance and tell the startup, the people, the youth who are participating, that you don't need to go back to the traditional ways of doing things and do all the steps, that now the technology helps to minimize the processes and get less headache for you in the development and so on. But in the startups that they will be participating in the technical hackathon, I think they will be mostly from Palestine, because they will be present if the pandemic allows. You know, we have always regulations that we cannot be more than 50 sometimes we cannot be more than 20, but till now it is face-to-face. The hackathon will be face-to-face. Last year, we were obliged to do it online. So it was open to anyone from outside Palestine. But this year we are planning to have it inside Palestine, in a place where people will sleep over there. They will have some workshops where people from all over the world can participate in the sessions, in the explanatory sessions, but not in like competing on ideas, because it will be a little bit difficult to have the teams outside Palestine. There will be teams from inside Palestine. Unless we will have in next week any other regulations that we cannot gather people together for 2 days, for example, we will do it online, but I hope we can be able to do it face-to-face. But as I said, people from outside Palestine can help in the sessions that, like, we bring people to speak about certain issues, to explain to these youth how they can work or have ideas ideas in this fintech field, in the e-payments, e-signature, or smart access. And at the same time, in the forum, it is really open to all international participation. That time, people can participate from all over the world in all the sessions, in all the subjects. And also, last year, for example, we had like an exhibition. It was online, you know, online platform. So people also can participate and market their products online in this special platform. But for the technical hackathon, I think it will be a little bit difficult for startups from outside to participate. I hope we can do one where everyone can participate and will be open. Maybe we can plan together, Mr. Mustafa and the board of Faster Community, to do something with the Higher Council of Innovation and Excellence for the coming future very soon, to make it like international, or make it, for example, for Turkey, Yemen, or Oman. We have the Dr. Fater from Oman. We have Shaher from Palestine and Syria and Turkey and all over the world. The Palestinians are all over the world. So together with you, we can do something in common. As I told you, we have already many partnerships with Turkey, with TÜBİTAK and other institutes. We can also do something Turkish-Palestinian, for example, if you want, or MENA region with together. So we are open to all ideas. Thank you again for the time. I took more than I was supposed to. And I look forward to more working with you together to make this community go faster and faster and spread the technology all over. Thank you again.
We thank you, Dr. Safa Hanım. It is honor for us to develop another new session of hackathon or startup kind of event. Your experiences very important for on this issue as well. So shukran for your opinion about suggestion also. Thank you. Yes, as closing remarks and closing speeches, Şebnem Hanım, we would like to hear from you as well.
Thank you so much. Firstly, we would like to contribute to Dr. Safa's and Dr. Sher's communities and hackathons or any kind of startup or social events, because we have very different educational curricula. Firstly, as a management information system, we designed for different data science course. And if you just choose some special courses from department elective courses, you may have a deep information from automation learning to the deep learning or the fake application. So I would like to open a new area for my students first, because not only the culture transformation, but also working in a different culture is very important experience for students, especially if we are talking on AI and if we are talking about AI for everyone, AI for all. And I would like to close my speech just only one remarkable statistic. It's from this year. The top 3 most significant change companies when we considering the implementation of AI are soft skills, over the 56%, and the fear of unknown, 42%, and the lastly, finding a good, a solid starting point over the 26%. Thank you so much.
Most welcome, Şebnem Hanım. Shukran, also your valuable contributions. And then Dr. Shoher Bey, and we are now closing with you as well. And if you add your journey a little, also missing points for startups as well, because it is encouragement for them. There's challenge and encouragement, risk together, as Arabic as risk and risk together, I would like to mention as well. So I feel you are now in success of your idea, and as I feel. Let us know more, and as startup people would like to hear that they need to challenge.
Yes, well, Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. And I think the key word here is being patient, putting all the efforts that you can. I can't pronounce the word perseverance. If it's not the correct word, which is continuous working all the time. I had one of one of the banks, actually one of the first bank that we went live with in Oman. A top manager of the bank seeing me actually went in the corridor, one day after we went live, and he was saying, I can't believe, 7 years working on this. I heard about this project 7 years ago, and I would never thought that actually you're gonna stay here for 7 years until you saw this project going live. Believe me, you know, maybe 1,000 times I wanted to quit, because it's just, you know, you put all the efforts, you know, you try to convince everybody, and then every day a new challenge, every day something happens, and then it stops you. It's like, you know, when we were 2 days or maybe 5 days before we go live, and we hit by Corona and the whole country shut down. Imagine, and that took us 1.5 years after to go live again. And just because, you know, something which is unexpected like this happens, and then everything shut down. And imagine that you have to pay for the salaries for the people and continue that for additional 1.5 years, you know, and you keep patient, and you say, actually, we have a very valuable project, we have a very good thing, and we need to make sure that we continue. And this is really, if you are patient, if you put your efforts, you will succeed at the end. But at the beginning, it has to be a valid idea, it has to be a good idea, it has to be a unique idea. And you should not do any project, you should do the right project. And this is very important, because there is a lot of ideas that you can do, there is a lot of things you can do. Choosing the right idea is very important, and this is critical for the success later. And with this, inshallah, we close, and we hope that we can come to the, you know, to do something in Palestine. And I hope, Dr. Safa, that you talk to the team, and consider, even with this hackathon, to open it for, you know, for online, for other, because we have 4 or 5 projects that we can bring to Palestine and present. And maybe it will be very difficult to come this time, but not necessarily. If we can do it online, at least we can tell people about the ideas, about what we want to do, and how this project can work and support, you know, the Palestinian growth and the Palestinian economy. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much, Mustafa Bey, for this opportunity. And, you know, it's lovely to meeting you ladies. And inshallah, we continue to work together, and hopefully we can meet again and work together on different projects.
It is honor for me to be with you in this 1 hour, and very good speak, and even very nice cooperation points you get on the table. Shukran, your kindness and all your speech. Shukran and thank you. See you again for next events as well, and we develop also together events. We would like to be in together develop as well. See you our next events. I would like to say ma salama in Arabic and goodbye in English, and güle güle in Turkish, and see you again. Dr. Safa Hanım know Turkish also as well, inshallah, more and more. So see you again, inshallah, for next meeting. Thank you for all your valuable contribution today, and all watchers. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Bye bye. Thank you.